because who doesn't need a little storage pouch? Hi there, and welcome to Laugh Sew Create. My name is Rebecca, and welcome to this tutorial. It's a perfect beginner project, and if you're trying to get rid of some scraps, this is also a project for you. You can use leftover fabrics that you may want to upcycle instead of throwing that fabric out into the landfill. If you have leftover clothes that you no longer wear, but the fabric still looks good and you like the print, it's also a great little project if you're planning on selling some things for a craft fair or a festival. This project is quick, and I will also be showing you, if you have directional fabric or a directional print, how to adapt it so that you can use it. This adorable little pouch is actually not my pattern, not claiming it. It actually comes from the YouTube channel Sewingtimes, where she shows you how to make this tiny little version. And I did make one the first time around, and I thought it was a great little size to store headphones in and other small items, but I wanted something just a little bit larger to store either makeup or feminine hygiene products. Anything that you need to kind of corral in your purse, this is a great little project. Which is that you can use different closures. You could use Velcro, as I did, or you could also use snaps. And as you can see, the first one that I did, I used this cherry print, and it is a directional print. So the print all goes in one direction. And so if you don't make the adjustment for that when you're making it, your cherries will be, or whatever your motif is, will be upside down. So in the second one that I made, I adjusted the print so that it would be going in the right direction. For this project, I actually made little templates out of this material. The larger piece measures 5 3/4 inches by 8 3/8 or 14.6 centimeters by 21.2 centimeters. That's the larger rectangle. And then you'll need another rectangle that is a little bit wider and shorter than the other rectangle, and that it measures 7 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches or 18.4 centimeters by 14.6 centimeters. You will need some fabric of your choosing. I'm using cotton. You'll need some sort of interfacing. Now, SF 101 is a good one. Sewfuse, just a medium weight interfacing. I actually used this leftover fleece. It's a low loft, and it has the glue on one side, so I used that. I had some extra, and it gave me a more padded look. So depending on what look you want, or if you have some supplies that you want to use up, that works. Rotary mat, ruler, and cutter would work. Scissors, and then some clips or some pins, an iron, and an ironing board for pressing. If you have a label too, you can attach a little label and make it personalized. I attached a little loop to this one just because I thought it would be fun to be able to attach it to things using like a carabiner or something. That would be good. The original pattern that she makes does not have the little loop on it, but you can adapt it. Pretty easy to adapt. And obviously you'll need your sewing machine and a marking tool. What I used on this darker fabric was some soap shards. So you're also going to need something as a fastener. So I'm using Velcro. You could use a snap as well. If you're using Velcro, I'm using the sew-in Velcro, and it's 1.5 inches. Or if you want a smaller tab, you can also do that. One thing I forgot to say was, if you are using a fabric that is going in one direction, so something like this where all the leaves are pointing that way, you'll want to cut your piece of fabric a little bit longer, added a 1/2 inch. So your cut's going to be 9 inches in length, 5 3/4 inches in width. Because I'm going to show you, we're going to have to split that panel and flip the prints facing each other so that when you get the little flap that covers the pouch, it will be going in the right direction. So you'll want one cut of each size in the interfacing, and then you'll need two cuts of the larger rectangle and 2 cuts of the shorter, stubbier rectangle. You can actually press it before you cut it, but okay, so if you're doing the directional print, what you're going to want to do is fold it exactly in half and press it to find your center point, and then cut it. And then you'll flip one of the prints downwards, and then you will sandwich them with right sides facing together and pin, and you'll want to stitch across at 1/4 of an inch. Back stitching at the beginning and end. Lay out your seams flat. So now that you've stitched the panel together, you are going to do the same and proceed the same way if you have the non-directional fabric. Now you can attach your interfacing to one side of the exterior panels and no interfacing on the lining. So next I'm going to round the corners of the panels. And this one I actually used a quarter or coin for the corners, so I got this like slight rounded edge. I was using a marker. So I'm going to go through and mark all of the 4 corners on this panel, and then the 2 corners only on the horizontal panel, leaving the top square, and then cutting those corners off. And repeat for the lining pieces. Okay, so now we're going to work on the front pocket piece. So grab your horizontal pieces, and you're going to take the right side and the lining fabric, place them right sides together, and clip them on the top. Sew it across a 3/8 of an inch in from the edge using a 2.5 millimeter stitch length, going all the way across, back stitching at the beginning and end. Okay, next you're going to put it wrong sides together and go ahead and press it. And I'm going to top stitch all the way across. You don't have to back stitch. So next you're going to find the center point, and you're going to place the Velcro about 5/8 of an inch down. You can use some double-sided tape to help hold it. Stitch all the way around. Back stitch. Come in from either edge 1 1/4 inch in, and mark a straight line down on both sides. So this is going to serve as a pressing guide. You're going to press it up like so and create a crease on both sides with your iron. Okay, so then next you're going to come in from this line and measure over 3/8 of an inch on both sides. So on that first line, you pressed it up and you brought the wings in. At this line, you're going to actually press it towards the back. So bring it up and press it like so. And it may be easier if you're using SF 101 or something like that. This is just kind of thicker. And press it. So next you're going to grab your lining piece and the pocket that you just made, and you're going to place it on the lining and clip it. I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and back stitch, sewing all the way around the pocket using about a 2.5 millimeter stitch length and going in at 1/4 of an inch. And take your time as you're pivoting around the corners. Okay, there you go. Not perfect in that corner, but that's okay. I think I am going to attach a little loop like that to this one. So if you have any scrap pieces or strips of fabric that would work, I'm going to cut one that is 3 inches in length, 1.5 inches in width. It doesn't have to be exact. Take it to the iron and I'm going to press it in half, and then I'm going to bring the raw edges in towards the center and then fold it one last time over and press it. Stitch it down one side. Okay, you can kind of decide where you might want it. You want to make sure that the loop is facing in and that the raw edges match the raw edges of the lining. And I like to go over it by a little bit just to make sure that I'm catching it when I catch it in the seam. You can take it and stitch it right now if you'd like, just to make sure it stays in place. Okay, so at this point, you want to make sure that you've got your designs the way you want them to be. And I always just try to do a dry run and make sure that I'm doing this right. So I place them right sides together. It's going to be clipped and come down. So I want to make sure that the pattern is going in the right way. So it should be that the print is going in the right direction on both the pocket and the main panel. And then the top part, this is all if you've got a directional, like one-way print. And then you'll want to make sure that the top part's upside down. Clip all the way around. And what I'm going to do is leave a gap that is about 4 inches, 3 to 4 inches wide, so that I can turn it. And when I'm stitching around, I'm going to stitch at 3/8 of an inch in from the edge using a 2.5 millimeter stitch length. And I want to make sure that I'm back stitching at the gap to make sure that it's reinforced. That way it doesn't tear when I try to turn it through. And so by going in 3/8 of an inch, you'll come in a little bit further than the initial 1/4 inch, so that'll be hidden. Trim around the edges, and if you want on the corners, you can notch them to take some of the bulk out if you want. Almost done. I'm going to turn it right side out. I just went ahead and pressed in the edges of the opening, and I'm just going to clip it. I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and I'm going to top stitch all the way around the top flap at 1/8 of an inch using a 3 millimeter stitch length, making sure to catch that closed. Time to add the securing to the flap. Again, I'm going to just use a little double-sided tape. Use whatever method works for you. Okay, so you just want to make sure that you're finding the right placement. Stitch around that. Just try to be neat because this is going to be visible from the exterior of the flap. Okay, there you have it. And you can always add a handmade label if you'd like. And you can always go over to Sewingtimes and also get the dimensions for the small little pouch, just so you can see a comparison again of the sizes. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you found it helpful and useful, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now. Took dogs out. I was making sure I didn't have mud on my feet. Siri. I don't need help, thanks. Nothing but straight lines, really. Well, no, that's not true. 5 3/4 by 8 3/8 plus 1/2 inch. So whatever that is, not the greatest at math, but whatever that is, you want to add 1/2 inch. Those would be my dogs wrestling out there.